You're listening to the Carl DeMaio Show. We're giving you the story behind the story, and we're fighting to take back our state for a better California. Let's talk about New Year's resolutions. I have them. Every year I sit down and I look at my life, where I am, and what I'd like to do better. And, you know, most of us are seeing New Year's resolutions as aspirational. You know, they're goals. For me, they really frame not only what I want to do personally in life, but professionally. And I try to keep them. Sometimes I'm not so good at the New Year's resolutions, but it really tees up, I think, for me, a sense of focus. So here are my professional New Year's resolutions. And I think you'll like them, because I'd like you to make these resolutions along with me. So first and foremost, number one, I resolve to save the 50th congressional district from being flipped to the Democrats. That's right. That's why I launched the campaign in 2019, and March 3rd, we finished the job. Because I know that if I am the Republican nominee in the 50th district, that there's no way that the Democrats are going to be able to win this seat away from us. The polling shows that I will crush a Democrat in the runoff, particularly the leading Democrat, this Democrat socialist Amar Campa-Najjar. Because I have a lot more appeal to the independent voters and even some conservative Democrats than any of the other Republican candidates running. And so my first resolution is something that we're working on right now, and that is to win the 50th district, to secure the 50th district so the Democrats don't pick it up. March 3rd, we'll know whether we kept that resolution. Second resolution for the year is I'm not content with just saving a congressional seat. I want to flip other seats up and down the state of California from blue to red. I want to be able to pick off some Democrat members of Congress and some Democrat state legislators. We've got a list that we got in my campaign team that we've been looking at. A lot of these decisions, though, in terms of who we're going to target, will happen after March 3rd, when we know which Republican nominees are in each district. But I really believe that we can win several seats in 2020 if we use the model that we basically have demonstrated works in my campaign in the 50th district. And that is breathing new life into Republican campaigns with new technology, new energy, new tactics. And it includes reaching out to college students, going after independent voters, going door to door with canvassing, doing aggressive community events, and of course, taking a look at ballot harvesting and how we can get our base to turn out and persuade voters that are in the toss-up column. So I want to take that model and equip the candidates in several congressional seats, state legislative seats, or up and down the state of California, and help them win. So March 4th is when that second resolution will kick into overdrive, helping flip additional seats in California. The third resolution is really more of a encapsulation of our entire movement. And that is, I want to be able to build a statewide coalition, the statewide message for taking back our state from socialists. And that is that coalition of the forgotten Californians. It's not enough just to flip a couple seats. It's not enough for me to win the 50th district. What we need to do is spark a movement statewide that will look several cycles down the road, 2020, 2022, 2024, for how we're going to take back our state. And it starts with building a coalition around an exciting reform agenda. So statewide, the reform agenda that I'm going to try to build, and we'll know whether we have this coalition by the end of this cycle. The statewide coalition is all going to be built around two interrelated issues: lowering the cost of living in California and improving our quality of life. Those two issues, cleaning up the mess on our streets, making our communities more safe. That's all about quality communities. And then, of course, at the same time, rolling back the tax increases, the mandates, the costly fees that politicians have imposed on us. Cost of living and quality of life. A coalition built all around those two issues. And what does that coalition look like? It's going to be business groups. It's going to be taxpayer groups. It's going to be ethnic groups. It's going to be Republicans, independents, and even some wayward Democrats. We're going to have activists in each community step up to the plate for the first time in a long time and say that California costs too much money to live in, and there are major issues that are undermining our quality of life, and that we believe that the supermajority Democrat Party of the state is to blame, and we offer an alternative. Now, part of that statewide coalition is going to start out with defeating the split roll initiative on the November ballot that would roll back Prop 13 protections. And so we're going to start forming the coalition around the battle to block the assault on Prop 13, but we need to go beyond just stopping bad things. That's why I want to get our coalition to embrace another attack on the unfair and costly gas tax increase and the car tax increase. The way we're going to do that is we're going to focus on reforming how the title and summary process works for ballot measures so that we can get our measure back on the ballot, this time with a fair and accurate title and summary. Because, last time with our gas tax repeal, they took out the words gas tax repeal and put on, eliminates road repair funds. You might as well say it kills kittens and puppies, okay? It was an unfair title. It was not accurate. It was pejorative. It was biased. And that's why it was so hard for us to get our message out and win what should have been a pretty easy issue to win on. So ballot honesty, ballot transparency, ballot integrity will be the focal point, and then putting the gas tax repeal back on the ballot. And then the other element that we'll talk about statewide is the element of fixing our roads, safeguarding our communities by enforcing laws, and cleaning up the filth from our streets by really dealing with homelessness in an accountable way. It's not just compassion, but accountability has to be part of that narrative. That's statewide. And I'll do that. I will lead that coalition statewide. But the only way this is going to work is if we have regional coalitions. And so while I'm also doing the statewide coalition, I'm going to do the local coalition. San Diego, we're going to be focusing in on that same aspect of quality of life and cost of living. And so we'll be looking at two major issues in San Diego in 2020 and beyond. Number one, making sure every single penny that goes into SANDAG, the San Diego Association of Governments, for transportation issues, whether it's the sales tax that they levied on us, the gas tax, the car tax, any federal funding for transportation, that every single penny goes first and foremost to road projects. Finish the job on improving and expanding the road network in San Diego, rather than stealing the money for bureaucracies and climate change and transit programs that nobody's really using. And so SANDAG, going after that money and securing it for roads. Secondly, requiring that no money be spent on homeless programs unless two criteria are achieved. Number one, the funding is given to organizations who can, use a variety of interventions to save homeless individuals from despair, including religious organizations. So we need to open up the funding to what works, fund success, not failure. And secondly, not a dime of money for these programs unless we have the authority to enforce the law on vagrancy and panhandling. Those two major reforms, fix the roads and deal with the homeless problem, those two major reforms, I believe, will allow us in San Diego County to rebalance our political system and start taking back our government from the leftists and the special interests that have taken it over. So those are my three New Year's resolutions. Number one, win the 50th congressional district, save that seat. Number two, flip additional seats statewide. And number three, emerge from 2020 with both a statewide and a regional coalition to take back our state long term. Hope you can join me. Go to joincarldemaio.org or carldemaio.com and join our movement. We'll pick it up next time on the issue of fiscal reform in Washington, D.C. Hot topic that has been forgotten by many members of Congress, including the Republicans. This podcast was paid for by Carl DeMaio for Congress. I'm Carl DeMaio, and I proved this message.